we go again. I can watch this fellow. God for new tyres. Whee! Yay! Yay! There we go. Champagne Springs. Ooh, this must be the campground. Facilities, yeah. Permit. A permit must be purchased on entering. Please check in at reception. Okay, where's reception? Over there. Busy. This is Questro, and this is one of the ablution blocks. Male, obviously, with a pissoir. Toilets, showers, 3 in each. Now, apparently, over there is where I came in that general direction where that lady is walking. And that's the bar, and there's a little restaurant which is now closed. They're sort of cabins and shelters and things. This is the powered camping, and down behind all the powered camping sites is where I am, but I'll go down there in a minute. I'm just checking out all the ablution blocks because they're a fair way from the non-powered camping sites. So this looks to be another ablution block. Which it is, yes, the same. Oh, and there's my phone going, excuse me. Okay, this is El Questro, and this is one of the camp kitchens that they have here. Very lovely facilities. That's a couple of barbecues, and we've got ablution block next door, which I've shown you on a previous scene, although it was a different ablution block. And now we're going to wander down to where I am. I have decided that I might just camp. There seems to be no recognised camping or designated camping sites here apart from the ones that have power, which we're passing here now with the purple or maroon signs with numbers on them. All the other campsites are down here, and as I walk down here there's a gentleman sitting in a chair, and if you look to his or to my right over a tent is where I've parked the beast, ostensibly saying that could be my campsite. However, there are other people there, just straight up. But I think where that is, under the shade, is probably going to be good, a nice place to sit and contemplate. It's close to the river. And there are crocodiles in the river, but I don't think they'll be able to scramble up the steep bank that I see is there. Let me go and check. So here is the Pentecost River. That could very well be a little crock over there, just between those two branches. And where I plan to camp is right here. So, I'll even be able to back it up with a nose. I'll keep in the shade. Well, I'm going to take a little walk through the campground. It's just gone 5:10 and it's apparently happy hour up at the reception centre. So I'm going to go and have a little look and see what's actually happening up there. So this is the main driveway into the camping ground. These are all the powered sites, as I mentioned before, at the top end. And along there is the cattle, part of the cattle station, I guess. Here is the ablution blocks, another one, and I'm now heading towards the reception area. There are a lot of helicopters flying here during the day, obviously taking people across for scenic flights to wherever. Anyway, let's see what happens when we get a bit further up here. This was the parking area where I originally came in, and it was a hive of activity earlier. Doesn't look like it's so busy now. I think people have probably had enough of partying. And over there, as I say before, there was cabins. These are for glampers, and then we have the caravanners and the rest of us plebs. This is where the helicopters take off and land from, and you can also do horse riding apparently here in Questro. I don't know if you can make them out. I might have to do this in the morning. We're not really picking up much activity here. I'll just have a little quick spin round through the bar area and the reception as I go, and then I might go back to camp. So, I suppose it's rubbish bins, no through road. You can even get fuel here, which is handy, very handy to have. And around here we have a bar, and tour bookings and outdoor dining. Here's a chopper landing. Well, this is very civilised. They even have one of my favourite beers here. James Bow, or James Squire's 150 lashes. And it's $8 for a pint. That's actually cheaper than you buy it in Albany. I think they charge about 10 in Albany. So isn't this very civilised? I don't know if this is going to record very well, but that sunset, the colour in that sky is amazing, although I'm against these white lights. I might have to move around a bit to get it. I don't think this is going to pick up the colour, but that colour out there in that sky is absolutely magnificent. A lot of tired kids around though. Actually, there's one tired adult around too, who's actually holding this camera. It's this heat is very, very draining, let me tell you. Anyway, it's not that I'm complaining. Look at where I am. The trick for me is going to be finding my camp. Because we don't have lights down in the camp. No power section. There's a car coming. I'll guide myself by the ablution blocks. Well, we're going to go on a little short explore because there is a place called Zebedee Springs that we came through on our way in here, and that apparently is one of the things that you really have to see, and it's closed at between 12 and the rest of the day for private groups. So we have to be there by 7, between 7 and 12, and it's now 20 past 7, so I'm going to make my way there and have a look, have a look, have a look, have a look. Getting ready for his first scenic flights of the day. Now we have to negotiate the water jump, the water crossing, to get out. But we did it yesterday. Apparently Zebedee Springs is only about 3.5 k's, so I can, yeah, it was fairly close in, I think. So hopefully it shouldn't take us very long to get there, and then there'll be hundreds of people, no doubt, all visiting between the hours of 7 and 12. Okay, well, we're coming up to that first test. I know there's been a few caravans and cars gone through here this morning because there's a lot of people left. And this is the Pentecost River. And so, we very carefully crawl across here. Trying not to create too much of a wave. Ooh, I can hear things in the back rattling around. And we have to do that on the way back too. Okay. Of course, to get here I have to drop the tent and virtually vacate my campsite, and there are no allocated campsites, so I'll probably get a different one when I come home, which is good. A little bit more of a choice. I realised that one that I was in, whilst it was great when I got there yesterday, nice and shady, this morning it was in full sun, so it's probably a good idea that I've decided to come on a tour. Otherwise I'd have been there baking in the oven for the day. And we've got to cross Moonshine Creek again. Okay, Moonshine Creek. Now, middle track is, I think, the best, probably. Moonshine Creek. Has some connotations, I wonder. There is a water crossing here on El Questro, and they advise you not to go in it unless you have a snorkel, because it's 800 millimeters, and 800 millimeters is not that far off where my knees were the other day, so it sort of is justification for me personally for not doing that particular crossing the other day. Jackaroo's Waterhole, Moonshine Gorge, El Questro Gorge. No, that's not the one. That's one of the ones where you have to have a snorkel to go up through there because you cross that creek again. So that's definitely not on the agenda this morning. We want Zebedee. To Zebedee Springs. And we'll go to the car park and we've got a 600-metre walk apparently. So let's do it. I imagine that's not the car park, or is it? Yes, it is. It might be. Right. 7 AM, 12 noon. Okay, Zebedee Springs opening hours. Instructions are a little bit vague in a sense, because I just sort of assumed, seeing those caravans parked there, that the 600-metre walk probably started from there, but I actually walked down here and it was a lot longer. So I've come back and said, well, bugger it, I'm going to drive down here and just see, because it's obviously they open the gates so you can drive in, and it's probably a 600-metre walk from the end of this road, not as I interpreted it. It just shows you when you see vehicles parked, we all, like sheep, we do the same thing. So bah to Doug. Yeah, and this is definitely more than 600 metres. Here's a sign, see? Car park. Right, let's see. No parking, coach turning area. If the car park is too full, there are springs, please visit another time. Oh, you're right. I'm sure we will. Not too full at the moment, and I think that little area there is just going to suit me fine. Crikey, I'd have been walking for a while, wouldn't I? Woo, woo, woo. Thank goodness. common sense prevailed and laziness. I hope I'm doing the right thing. I'm walking down this road. The notice on the gate said Zebedee Springs gates closed at 12 p.m. But I just wondered, seeing the caravans there, I just automatically pulled up and parked. Well, I hope I'm doing the right thing. They did say it was a 600 metre walk, so I'm assuming this is part of the 600 metres. Otherwise I'm incredibly stupid. So Zebedee Springs are like Mataranka, they're thermal springs. And it seems quite a similar sort of a setup to Mataranka. I'm sorry if this footage is a bit jerky because I'm using my Canon and we're currently going through a tropical savanna woodland. And this is a Livistonia forest. Oh, it's beautiful. It's nice and cool in here too. Water flowing under the bridge. Brilliant. We merge into the light. And the track is taking an upward slope because apparently there is a viewpoint of Zebedee Falls up ahead. But oh, it's nice in here, beautiful. I wish you could be here, folks. A few steps, cunningly concealed. I can hear water and people. People. Can't see them yet. Oh yeah, down there. Well, I'm sitting here in Zebedee Springs pool and it's very, very warm, beautiful. We'll actually just do a little bit of a plunge underwater to show you that I really am in here. I've had a technical issue with my Hero 7 Silver GoPro, which refuses to turn off after I took a scene of about 31 seconds. So I'm going to be interested to see how long it takes before it either stops recording or it drains the battery. Anyway, that's why I always come prepared with extra cameras, don't I? And I've had my swim in the thermal pool, it's beautiful. It's like taking a bath. Well, strangely enough, after that, and about 2 minutes, this thing decided it was going to turn itself off and reset itself. Well, if you ever get a chance, folks, this is certainly one place to visit if you're confined to Western Australia. Certainly make your way up to Questro and do at least the Zebedee Springs. It's Mataranka is probably better, but as a substitute, this is pretty much up there. Butterflies. Alas, all good things must come to an end. So here we are over here, walking back to the beast. Okay, well, we've done Zebedee Springs, and a lovely little spot that was, and my technical issues with the other GoPro seem to have resolved themselves. It's a strange beast, the Hero 7 Silver. Keeps shutting itself down every so often and then says to you, set me, go to the GoPro app or set it manually. So I always eventually set it manually, but it's just an annoying little piece of apparatus that shouldn't have that fault in it. The one that I'm recording this on is perfect. So after doing Zebedee, there are a number of other gorges here, but I think I'm a little bit bit late to do them today, and I only plan to stay in Questro for 2 nights anyway, and I'm going to start making my way back home. And I can always, as I keep saying, I can always come back next year. It gives me a good excuse, especially now that I have brand new tyres, which will last at least a couple of trips back up north after I get home. I think we're about to go down into Moonshine Creek again. Yep, you can tell by the discoloration on the road, it's wet. Oh yeah, here's somebody's just come through. Okay. So, here we go. Oh yeah, come around the corner. Fly around the corner. It's a busy old road, this. Now here we come into Questro again. So we've got to cross the Pentecost River, and I always do this, well, I'm doing it now, in first gear, 4-wheel drive, so as I don't go too fast and don't create too much of a bow wave. You can actually see the rocks there in front of you. Oh, that's very rocky. Thank Christ I've got new tyres. Interested to see how far up the water actually comes up to my sills. Anyway, we've done it again. I might find once I get make camp again, I might find my way back to that little rock pool on the river that is crocodile proof and just spend a couple of hours there in the water. Because I don't think it'll be that busy during the day here, because most people are out doing their guided tours or taking helicopter flights or going to Zebedee Springs and Emma Gorge and all of those other places. So, hey, that'll be me. Well, my original campsite is still there. And it was okay, and it's getting shady again, so a creature of habit. Maybe I'll go into the little next one. Yeah, that's got better tree. Better shade cover. This one here. We need to go a different angle here. Back this way, because there was a dip in the ground. I don't want a dip in the ground. Does that feel level to me? I don't know. Go and have a look. Well, I did this tent yesterday. I erected it in time lapse, but it took only 20 seconds or something by the time, so I'm going to do it in real time. And there we have the basic camp setup. All I've got to do is get my chair out, open up the fridge and grab a beer. It's pretty treacherous to get into this so-called swimming pool. But anyway, it's better than nothing. But you've got to wend your way down through the rocks, which are very slippery. Okay, and you can get in, and I'm going to get in as I slide over the bloody rocks. Contemplate the world and all its problems. And right now, I have none. Lucky me. I don't know what the vision is like here, but I've obviously made the water very murky. But we'll have a look. Sitting in this stream, surrounded by the bird life. I don't know whether the birds are being picked up on the video. You can certainly hear them. Something is bobbing in the water, look. Could have been a fish. There's a little dragonfly, little blue. 2 dots on the top of the water. Unbelievable. I'm sitting in a stream surrounded by insects and birds. Only in WA. Now I would suggest you don't get this shot every day. I could just sit here all day, and perhaps I will. El Questro and the Pentecost River. So this is the back end, I think, of the bar and restaurant, and then this is the little swimming pool that I've been in. Of course, there's no lifeguard on duty. And then what we've been filming of the water flowing down over the rocks is this area over here. And I really don't know what sort of footage I captured yet. I'll have to wait and get excited when I put it on the computer. And my campsite is over in that direction, behind that tree, way over behind that tree there in the middle of the frame. And this is the sort of the back section of the reception and the cantina and all the areas where life takes place at El Questro. Okay, it's 5 to 7 and it's Wednesday morning, the 1st of September. And I am heading out, leaving El Questro. Oh God, that's a savage bump. And I'm heading towards, I think, Warman, Turkey Creek, and we'll see what the day brings. Well, here's our little water crossing again. Hope the tide is out. Pull their caravans through this. God. Oh, the early starters are kicking up a lot of dust this morning. Me included. Coming up again. Yep. Wash the wheels again. To the cantina at El Questro, and I had a Wagyu beef burger and some shoestring French fries, and that cost me 25 bucks, and it was delicious. And they have a happy hour at the bar for which you can get a schooner of beer for 8 bucks. So I had one or two. And that set me up for the evening, and then I went back to my camp and had a cup of tea and went to bed. And I think I was probably in bed by 7:15, but it was still pretty hot, let me tell you, very hot. But it cools down, funny enough, during the night, and I was quite snug in my sleeping bag in the top of the rooftop tent. Right, there's a lot of dust here. Anyway, if you ever get the chance, come on up to El Questro. It's certainly worth the experience, and I very much enjoyed it. You can see I'm hanging back because there's an awful lot of dust. Ugh. Not very healthy first thing in the morning, mouthful of dust. my tyre pressures, I think I might get away with the pressures that are already in there without actually having to pump them up, because hot days increase the pressure. So we'll just pull here and I'll do a quick check. First of all, we'll take her out of four-wheel drive, undo the hubs. Tire gauge. They'll do while I get to warm at about 30 at the front. There seems to be a bit of disparity in opinion with what tyre pressures to use. When they put the new tyres on, as somebody did point out to me, they put them up to 40 psi, which in some cases is the maximum that the tyres should be inflated. And the theory about that is that that's supposed to give you a better ride, but it also has the effect of wearing out the round or the middle part of your tyre fairly quickly, I think. So I don't really feel any problem with the ride here, and if I've got 30 at the front and there's about 35 at the back to take account of the load that I'm carrying, I think it'll be fine on these brand new tyres. We'll give it a go for a while. Still on the gib, but we're seeing it from the perspective of heading east. Now we'll just have another little bit of a look at where we've been. We've just come back onto the Gib River Road, the paved end, heading towards the Great Northern Highway, which is about 25, I think, k's this way, and then we'll turn right again. So we'll say goodbye to this part of the Kimberley, and hopefully we'll get back one day. I'm just doing a very slight detour into the Gorge resort just to have a look. When you go to Questro, you have to have you buy a permit, and the permit lasts for 7 days, and it also allows you to come into Gorge. So I'm going to have a look just to see what it's all about. It's only a 2 or 3 kilometre diversion off the road, I believe, to the resort. I certainly won't be doing any hikes in here, because they do say that This may be just the precursor. This is obviously a walk into a gorge. Wilderness Park permit. We have one of those. Emma Gorge walk. Permit required. Please see what this. We got that. Don't need to do it. Welcome to El Questro Wilderness Park. Whoop. Alright, well, I don't want to do the walk, so we shall depart. Okay. Nature trail. It's a wilderness park, so that's why they're all the nature things. Okay, well, we went in there. Look at that tree. Wow. Beautiful. Up here is a sign saying low-flying aircraft, and you're actually right at the end of the runway. Those white drums there are the marker for the runway. I don't see any coming in though. That'd be pretty exciting, seeing a light plane fly in there over your head. King River. We just passed over the King River. There's a King River down in Albany. Won't be the same one. Different king. As I'm driving along here on like Gibb River Road, the eastern part of the Gibb River Road, and I'm thinking to myself now, should I really have done the Gibb right now? And I could, but I always like to keep something in reserve, because I don't know how long this COVID thing is going to last, and if I do everything that I want to do on this trip, what's the point of coming back next year? So I've sort of thought to myself, leave that section from El Questro through to, say, Winjana Gorge, and have that in mind for doing next year, if the COVID thing is still here, and that gives me something to look forward to. Whereas if I do it now, I think convoluted, I guess, but I think you really have to have a goal and something to look forward to, because if you do it too soon, it's all been done before, and then you don't generate that excitement. Whereas if I leave it till next year, it will have been sort of 5 years since I've actually done that stretch of road, and I'll probably get more of a thrill in doing it again. Anyway, just my musings on why I am sort of making my way slowly home now instead of continuing on into other things. There's an interesting little outcrop over there. Beautiful. Oh, we got a bird. We're officially off the Gibb River Road. And then we'll do a further right-hand turn a little bit further down the track when we get to